So the sneak peek leak for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 24 has just been released. And the question everybody has on their mind right now is this: is Kawaki actually beating Jura in this instance? And we're going to be breaking down everything we see, but just like everybody expected, we are going to be seeing a fight between Kawaki versus Jura. Boruto is not going to be participating from what it seems like to me right now, but from this one page, we do have a lot to talk about concerning what we're seeing here, a Kawaki versus Jura. We already know here that already in base, when Jura looked at Kawaki, he noted the exponential growth that Kawaki had just endured, and that was a Kawaki who was already in base just coming off his operation with Amato, and now we see that Kawaki is fighting Jura. So in this fight, we can already see that it appears like with the staff, Kawaki was able to tap Jura's hand out of the way. We do see him use the Karma, but we don't see Kawaki use True Essence Karma. And one thing that is interesting to point out is that the Karma that is around Kawaki right now is a lot more detailed in a way that it is expanding a lot more than we saw it in the past, especially with Kawaki, who is using the Karma pre-time skip. This Karma is extending way past his eye, almost reaching his hair, which is something that we didn't see before. And the reason why I note that this is important is because there are two different stages in which we see Kawaki with his regular Karma and with Kawaki with version 2 Karma. So with version 2 Karma, Kawaki can become even stronger than that exponential boost that we know that the Karma ends up giving somebody. And I already had questions about that in the past, but Kawaki with True Essence Karma is when the horns appear. With Boruto, we have seen that is when his Karma pattern changes and resembles that of Momoshiki. We saw that during the Code arc, where Boruto, who used True Essence Karma, horns didn't pop out, but he had the Byakugan, and he also had a different Karma pattern when it came to his eye area, which is a key distinction to when Boruto is using True Essence Karma and when he is not. But when it comes to Kawaki's Karma and its relationship to it expanding when it's different from version 2 Karma, we have seen consistently that Kawaki ends up growing horns, and with those horns, Kawaki ends up using True Essence Karma. We saw him use True Essence Karma in the past, when it came to Boruto during the fight where he was fighting versus Momoshiki, and also in the future vision that Momoshiki had seen in chapter 75. Those were the instances in which we had seen Kawaki use True Essence Karma, but in this instance, he is not using True Essence Karma, but I do believe that when he is pushed even more, we could end up seeing Kawaki who ends up using True Essence Karma, but at that moment, Kawaki is not. And the Karma matters a lot to this conversation, due to the fact that the time in which we saw Kawaki use True Essence Karma was a moment where he was really emotional, due to the fight that was occurring versus Momoshiki. There's something that has to push him to get there, and we have to see that push being shown to us in the future when it comes to him eventually using True Essence Karma in this fight versus Jura. And I believe that the push will come through Jura right here, as this fight, from what I can see, Kawaki, although he is showing up a great fight right now, I don't feel like Jura is losing at all. And the question is, again, that a lot of people have is whether Kawaki is actually pushing Jura back. And if I have to give my take on this, my simple answer would be no. I say that Kawaki is pushing Jura, but I won't say that Jura is losing this fight per se. First of all, we have to talk about the fact that Jura has one eye, which is something that he endured off guard. So it's not a feat that is that impressive to me, because we can clearly see it here. We can see here that Jura ends up being pierced again, but this time he is fully aware that Kawaki is here. And when he attempted to do so, we see that Kawaki is not able to pierce him like he did before. Obviously, from this fight, it shows a clear level of relativity, in my personal opinion, to even be able to push Jura's hand back using the staff, which is pretty impressive, and is the moments we wanted to see when it comes to Kawaki's battle IQ in the way he fights. So I really love the fight that we're going to end up seeing right now, but if we're simply judging it on the damage that it's doing to Jura, this is not doing much damage to me. We can see that Jura was pierced, and we don't end up seeing it going through. He is able to deal with it. And one thing that could be quite interesting that we may be able to see in this fight is the attacks that end up harming Jura, as there are multiple attacks that have been shown own. One we can't really take when it comes to Kawaki, as it was off guard, but here we can see here that he is able to negate the effects of the staff. But one thing that we have almost never seen in the past is a staff actually be able to pierce somebody. Even in the fight versus Jigen, he wasn't piercing Naruto and Sasuke. So I'm not saying that Kawaki not being able to pierce Jura is something bad per se. All I'm saying, it means that due to the fact that Kawaki was able to pierce Jura when he was in an off-guard state, it explains the process a lot better, as he is not actively able to do so. It was only because he was off guard. But we did end up seeing somebody be able to do damage to Jura when he wasn't necessarily off guard, and that is a Jura who was obviously holding back but is going against Boruto, and we've seen that his sword was able to cut off his leg. So something quite interesting that we could be seeing here is the fact that the attacks that Jura is weak to are not necessarily these big explosions that we already seen Boruto, who tried to attack Jura using the Rasengan and it did no damage, and we also seen Boruto use the Uzuhiko but it did no damage. But obviously we know that that Uzuhiko wasn't Uzuhiko at full power. But what I'm saying here is that we could see that one of Jura's biggest weaknesses is a slashing attack. A slashing attack is something that could deal more damage to somebody like Jura, or at least in that instance, he wasn't amping his body with his chakra, as he was trying to enjoy this fight, as was stated. So although it isn't holding back Jura, but it's something that is quite interesting to note when it regards Jura's own defense. So how do I view this fight? I view this fight right now, from what you can see, a Kawaki who is using version 1 Karma. He hasn't tapped into version 2 as of yet, but he is still holding his ground. He is still doing a lot. I still feel from these panels that Jura still has the edge. Like this panel of Jura being able to stop Kawaki from piercing his stomach just using his raw durability is just something that is impressive to see. So it seems more like Jura upscale in my personal opinion, as this is the strongest guy for the Leaf right now, the strongest guy in the good side versus the strongest guy in the bad. So right here, what we're currently seeing is just more impressive and more stat padding for Jura in my personal opinion. Now, one thing we do have to note is that Jura is weakened due to his eye, so it does make sense that maybe you couldn't react to that move that Kawaki did, because it is going near the side of the eye that is injured, so it would make a lot of sense that he couldn't see, thus could not react to that attack. But him just defending against Kawaki is pretty impressive. We do see that Kawaki seems a lot more buff. We do see a little bit more detail when it comes to his arm. He looks a little bit more muscular than usual. These are just some of the things that I can notice right off the bat, but this fight is already looking pretty interesting. Obviously, let me know your thoughts, comments, and concerns about everything that we have discussed in this video. In my personal opinion, is Kawaki going to win by himself? No. This is something that has been told to us to be a fight that Boruto and Kawaki are going to have to fight together to be able to complete. But what is going to be interesting is why exactly does Jura go back? Is it due to the fact that he doesn't want to kill Boruto and Kawaki? Is it due to the fact that Himawari is potentially going somewhere else, and thus he wants to devour Himawari and see what is going to happen to his body? Is he going to be a little bit more stronger and then he wants to fight again? There are a number of things that could be an explanation, and not just be that Kawaki won or Boruto stepped in or Boroshiki. There could be some explanations, but it doesn't remove the fact that Boroshiki or maybe even Kawaki and Boruto fighting, leading to Jura going back, is a possibility and is something that has to be discussed. However, we just need to figure out the answer to that in this upcoming chapter, which is something that I would love to see. Videos are going to be dropped a little bit more consistently. I have been enjoying my summer, as you can tell, and I'm very thankful for those who ended up reminding me. And so, if you want to figure out exactly what is the differences that we see here when it comes to Kawaki with version 1 Karma instead of Kawaki with version 2, and what may be the reason why we don't always see version 2 Karma, you have to watch this video right here, as I discuss the exact differences and reasoning behind version 1 Karma and version 2. So make sure to watch this video.